Hello, so we're gonna be watching these two movies called To Me, the One Who Loved You, and To Every You I've Loved Before. So it's a special type of movie where, depending on which order you watch the two movies, you'll get a different ending, which is a super cool concept, and it's making me like cry. So freaking much. So I'm gonna try it out. Going into this, I have no idea what this anime is about. So the order I will be watching it is To Me, the One Who Loved You, and then To Every You I've Loved Before, because I heard that was like the best way to watch it. Originally, I was going to watch it the other way around, but I did hear that this was the best way to watch it, so we're just gonna go with this. So we follow the story of a young boy named Koyomi. The movie starts off with his father telling him about the existence of parallel worlds. And he basically tells him how every decision we make, there's another reality out there where we choose the other choice, which can lead to millions of different realities. Parallel worlds. So is that what this is gonna be? The two movies are different worlds? Koyomi's father is one of the head researchers researching parallel shifting, where your consciousness can enter another world without knowing. So an example of this IRL could be misplacing items. So you have your cell phone, you leave it on your desk, and then suddenly you look for it and then you find it on your bed. What could have happened there is parallel shifting. The consciousness of another version of yourself in a different universe accidentally shifts into your current universe, moves the phone to the bed, and then you switch back, you find your phone on your bed, and you're like, wait, I swear I left it on my desk. Basically, that's a theory of why those instances happen. This is everything everywhere all at once. So right after the lesson Koyomi's father gives, he suddenly gets a phone call and learns that Koyomi's grandfather's dog died in a hit and run. Bruh, someone died already? We just started. It's okay, she's alive in a different world. The next day, Koyomi's at his father's workplace again, and his father's co-worker's daughter approaches him as he cries for his dog that passed away. She's a ghost, bro. She then tells him to follow her, and they sneak around the work building, and they reach a room with this thing called an IP capsule, which can allegedly take you to parallel worlds. She tells him that they can go to a world where his dog is still alive. This is so sus. She throws him into the capsule and tells him to believe that he will see Yuno again. I'd be like, where I'm rich, where I'm mentally stable, with no problems. And then she presses hella random buttons for it to work. What the? She doesn't know how to use it. I wish I may, I wish I might. Yuno, I will see tonight. The IP capsule actually worked, and he's reunited with Yuno. She's there. Wait, is that the same girl? But then he later finds out that in exchange for Yuno's life, his grandfather's life was taken instead. Oh, someone else died instead of Yuno, his grandpa. This is weird though, because like, where is himself in this universe? Like, does he not exist? After the funeral, he stays with his mom and wakes up back in his original world, where his grandfather is still alive. But oddly, he wakes up in his grandfather's room. What the? You're alive? So that means he's just back in his normal world. Grandpa, don't die for real this time, okay? You're invincible. He meets the girl again at his dad's workplace, and she apologizes, admitting that she pressured him to shift without knowing how the frick he would come back. But how did he make it home? She also admits that she was the one who really wanted to shift, because she wanted to go to a world where her parents are still happily married. I mean, same. The girl then decides to enter the IP capsule herself. She said, to work this machine, you just go off of vibes. Just press what you feel like. Before they could even operate it, her mom appears and stops them. And she lectures them before they even could continue. Uh-oh. Wow, her mom's so cool. They later regroup, and the girl realizes that she actually never gave him her name. She tells him that her name is Shiori. They shake hands as if it's their first meeting, and they get this whole cute-ass music video, like montage of them growing up together. It's so cute. Wow, they're on a first name basis already. They're besties. Hey, music! This is like Rad Wimps. Cute besties! Oh, they're growing up! Cute! At the end of the montage, they've grown up to become teenagers. Shiori tells Koyomi that she recently seen her dad for the first time since the divorce. He says that he loves her and to be the kind of person who can help others without expecting anything in return. Koyomi says that if he ever has a problem one day, he'll just ask her for help. But she's like, nah, because when you help someone without expecting a reward, they will ask you for your name, and you have to say, my name's not important, I'm nobody special. She can't do this with him because he already knows her name. Ooh. Then the next day, Koyomi's dad and Shiori's mom summon both Koyomi and Shiori to the office for something urgent. Cute. Oh. Y'all just started dating already, hello! Once Koyomi gets there, we see Shiori's mom giving a whole lesson on, shifting universes. We learned that universes can be labeled by numbers. So your home universe is labeled 0, and the closest one to you is 1, which means there isn't a significant difference between the two universes. But the larger the number, the larger the difference. So in this current moment of time, the stage of the research is that they do know that other realities exist. But they're currently trying to find a way to shift to a specific universe on command. I'm already lost in this lesson. Koyomi interrupts the lecture and says, hey, wait, we were summoned here for an important thing. What was it? There's no way. There's no way. There's no way! No! Step bro. Koyomi's dad and Shiori's mom are gonna get married. So then the two of them regroup and discuss what the frick just happened. They talk about how they don't have a problem with their parents marrying each other, but Shiori confesses that they wanted to marry each other. Yes, girl! She said it, but it's too late! But they realize that if their parents get married, they can't be together romantically because it would make them step siblings. Let's run away. Let's parallel shift to a different world. Yeah! Yeah! If they're not together as a family, then it's like... I don't know. They decide to run away together. They plan their whole future together. Okay, that means something bad's gonna happen. Whenever characters in a show are like, one day we're gonna go to Japan together. And we're gonna run away from the chaos of New York. I'm gonna show you all the Japanese foods. Someone dies. They very quickly realize that they can't run away because they're just kids. They're just gonna hide in the forest. They talk things out at their favorite spot, and Shiori mentions a dream she had. In her dream, her future self visits her and says that in the future, when she grows old, she will still be with Koyomi. As siblings. No, I'm joking. But during that time, Koyomi has gone senile and has forgotten about her. But she will still help him out, and she will say, my name doesn't matter. I'm nobody special. This is giving The Notebook. Koyomi jokes that she will probably be the one to go senile first, and he promises that if she's ever in trouble, he will help her no matter what. Yo, this is their vows, basically. They're getting married. They talk about how they wish to have a future together, and they realize that they could just parallel shift to a world where they can be together. They're gonna parallel shift to a world where their parents don't get married. But like, don't they exist in another world? But then if their parents didn't divorce, I feel like they wouldn't have met. So they rush to the IP capsule, and they decide to wish to be in a world where they can marry each other. They decide that once they shift to the new world, they will meet up at their favorite spot. Pain. They're gonna go beep 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 beep. Oh my god, girls got Riz. This girl's brave. Once they shift, Shiori and Koyomi wake up in a world where both of their parents are not divorced. They're still siblings! Wait, what? Oh, okay. They're not still siblings. Shiori shifted in a place where she sees her parents happily together across the street. Girl, don't get hit by a car. I'll freaking scream. And she runs towards them. Girl. I freaking knew it! Don't stand in front of the road! So she dies in this reality. Oh my god. She dies in this reality. Did she wake up? Koyomi wakes up back in his reality, and he wakes up still in the pod next to Shiori, but Shiori isn't breathing. So you don't stand in the road like that. Every time there's a show and someone's just standing in front in like the middle of the road for way too long, they're gonna get hit. Shiori gets taken to the doctor, and Koyomi's father says that her heart is beating artificially, but she's basically brain dead. His father apologizes for not recognizing that Koyomi and Shiori had feelings for each other, and tells him that even though the parents marry each other, the kids still can marry each other. So basically they did all of that for nothing. Their kids can still marry each other? Koyomi rides his bike around the city and spots Shiori at the intersection that she died at, but she isn't entirely there. She's a ghost, and only Koyomi can see her. Girl, get off the road. Did you not learn? She's dead. Oh no. There is no physical brain trauma, but it's just that her brain just doesn't work. This all happened because when Shiori's body in the parallel world died, her original conscience tried to shift back to her normal self. But because her parallel body died, parallel Shiori's consciousness died too, and her original consciousness lost sight of her original body, and now she's become stuck as a ghost at the intersection. If I was the mom, I'd be like, Shiori's mother says that the IP capsule doesn't even work because it's unfinished. The only reason why it worked with Koyomi in the past is because he might have a special ability to shift easily. And this ability is probably also the only reason why Koyomi is the only one that can see Shiori. Shiori's mother says that it is possible to save Shiori. So if they find a way to control her imaginary elements and return it to her physical body, that's the only way they can save her. But it is difficult because the research hasn't gone that far yet. The way my brain is literally like... Koyomi volunteers to be used for research and to help with research. He just wants to do anything to get her back because he blames himself for the incident. Bruh, he looks like that guy from Evangelion. So the next few years, Koyomi commits his life to studying in school during the day and studying and experimenting parallel shifting at night. He became a top student in his high school and made sure to see Shiori at the intersection every single day. But even after years, they still haven't discovered anything related to seeing imaginary elements. They only know that in every world, Shiori is a ghost. Dang, she died everywhere. During a late night at the office alone, Koyomi knocks out and has a dream that he has a sleepover with a woman with long hair, a woman that he's never met before. Oh my god. Who this? Spicy dream? Huh? Later that night, Koyomi is notified that Shiori's body stopped her heart from beating, and her body has now died, but her ghost still remains at the intersection. She dead! Oh. I think it sucks because he dedicated so much of his life to saving her, and then now it feels like he can't even do anything. A few years pass, and Koyomi's dad and Shiori's mom finally get married. Oh, so they did get married. She calls him mom. At this time, Koyomi is like a sad boy. He's drinking, sleeping, but still committing his life to his research. Koyomi's parents hire him an assistant to help his work progress, and possibly to help his mental health as well. Koyomi and his new assistant, named Kazune, go out for dinner, so they can get to know each other more. Turns out, she went to the same school as Koyomi, but he never noticed her. She saw him as her rival, because he was always a top student at his school, while she was always second place. He doesn't remember because he was in love with someone else. She gets very drunk, and they walk around the streets together. They pass by Shiori's intersection, and Koyomi stops to tell Shiori that he will meet her later. Kazune sees Koyomi talking to Shiori and asks, "You see it too?" She admits she can only see the shape of a person there sometimes. Miss Girl is standing in the middle of the road. The next day, Koyomi and Kazune meet up at a secret location. Because she can see Shiori, he decided to tell her the whole story of why he dedicated his life to researching parallel shifts in the first place. Koyomi admits that his original plan to save Shiori can't work anymore since her body has died. So now he's researching something called time shifts. In theory, time shifts are not possible, and it is not something the company will invest research into. Koyomi admits that he has been stealing research funds to fund fund his personal project, all because he wants to save Shiori in any possible way. So they didn't really explain the event radius in the movie, but to my understanding, we know that the reason parallel worlds exist is because they are created when we make choices. But those parallel worlds also have similarities. So the same event can happen in all neighboring worlds, but outside the event radius is where the event does not occur anymore. So what Koyomi is trying to do is send Shiori's consciousness or imaginary elements into a specific world that is outside of the event radius of her death. And to do that, he has to time shift her to the point where the world splits from theirs. Koyomi asks Kazune to keep this a secret, and she agrees, but turns it into another competition to see who can find a way to time shift first. Now it's gonna be a competition? I mean, it's fine. At least, like, all he cares about is, like, the fact that it gets done. They shake on it, and suddenly he has a vision of the dream he had years ago, of the sleepover with a woman with long hair. He realizes that it could be Kazune, but, like, also it's not Kazune? I don't know. Oh, it was her. Now he's like, it feels weird. Koyomi later gets hella drunk at Shiori's intersection. She tells him that she doesn't want him to waste his life and to live slowly for her. She tells him that it's been many years now. He's a full-grown adult. He's done enough. But he gets upset and reminds her that this is something he wants to do. He promised to help her no matter what. I feel like it's hard to move on when you feel like there's something you can do to bring someone back. When someone dies, they die, man. That's it. 10 years pass and the research has advanced. They can now see imaginary elements, and they finally discovered optimal shifting, which was the original plan to save Shiori many years ago. A decade? It's been 10 years? But at this time, they still have not discovered time shifting. Kazune and Koyomi share a beer, and Koyomi notices how the bubbles sink in beer. And suddenly, he knows the answer to time shifting. So in beer, the bubbles sink because the viscosity is higher than the buoyancy of a bubble. He connects this to time shifting and discovers that it actually is possible. The way parallel worlds is explained is that the world is a big bubble inside of an imaginary sea. Inside the world are tiny bubbles, which is us humans. So what he needs to do is make Shiori's imaginary elements, or consciousness, buoyancy less than the imaginary sea. So it will sink to the split point, which is a point past the event radius, to the point where Shiori never died, and to the point where she and Koyomi never met. Once Shiori's consciousness merges with the Shiori in the new world, she will have no memories of her life before. I don't get it. But okay, happy for you guys. Even though Shiori is being sent to a world where she will never ever meet Koyomi or remember their life together, he's okay with it because all he wants is for her to live a life where she can find happiness. A world where Shiori and I will never absolutely meet. Then we get a vision of a young Koyomi's life. Not the Koyomi we've been following this whole time, but the Koyomi he shifted with many years ago when he wanted to see Yuno again. His story starts off with an argument with his grandfather over a toy he's too young to play with. He's 10 and up. You're 8! He vows that he would never speak to him again, but suddenly his grandfather passes away. He's on a walk with Yuno when suddenly he shifts into an IP capsule, meaning the original Koyomi and Koyomi 2 switched during the time he first shifted. So what are they gonna do? Oh, this is back. Koyomi number 2 calls his mom to pick him up, and she was confused on why he would call her instead of his dad. They reach his grandparents' house and is surprised that his grandpa is alive, and he realizes in this world he chose to live with his dad, and Yuno is dead. Yeah, okay, so this is what happened. They switched. When he shifted to see the dog again, he switched with this boy. He asks to sleep with his grandpa that night, and they talk about the life of Yuno and how once something is dead, it can't be brought back. Koyomi also apologizes to his grandfather for not apologizing after their fight. And this is a side theory, but I think Grandpa realizes that Koyomi here isn't his original Koyomi because he suddenly refers to himself in third person. He says, "Did your old grandpa scold you for something? Even when that happens, it doesn't mean grandpa doesn't love you." And then he falls asleep and it cuts to Koyomi waking up next to his mom back in his original world. Aww, I think this is something that this version of himself needed. Then we get a little montage of his life. He grows up while living with his mom. Wow, he's just a regular dude. No big brain, no saving, no girls.
He meets Kazune at school, still rivals in this world.
So in this reality, she has a different hair color and like eye color.
They become friends, they spend lots of time together, they end up working at Koyomi's father's lab together, and they get married.
Oh shit! Engaged! Married! His life flashed before our eyes, man.
They have a kid together, the kid grows up and gets married, and they grow old together.
Oh! Well, his dream was a different reality! It wasn't his reality, but it was his reality. And that's when they ended up together.
And now we cut back to the original Koyomi. It has now been 60 years since he and Shiori met, and he only has 1 month left to live.
Oh, this is the original. This movie is so freaking... This is the original because her hair is brown and she got glasses and she got red eyes.
He waited until right before he dies to ensure Shiori time shifts to a world where they will never meet. He believes that no matter what, they can't meet to ensure she will have ultimate happiness. Kazune realizes that after helping Koyomi time shift, she will become a killer.
I'm gonna be a killer or what?
Years ago, during his early experiments, he noticed that when he would parallel shift to other worlds, Ghost Shiori of that world is the same Shiori of all worlds within the event radius. Meaning, Shiori doesn't really exist in any other nearby worlds. She has been time shifting with him the whole time.
Oh, so they're like stuck together.
So, for Shiori to time shift to a world where they never met, Koyomi will have to time shift with her, meaning his physical body will be stuck in imaginary element fission syndrome, which is the same thing that happened to Shiori's body when she first got stuck as a ghost. Kazune was against him doing this at first because he will be leaving all the people that cares about him behind. And she believes that there is no point in doing this since in the new world, him and Shiori will not meet each other anyways.
She said, I loved you. I always loved you.
But Koyomi doesn't care. He lived his whole life in regret to what happened to Shiori, and all he really wants is for her to exist and live her life again. That's all that matters to him.
He's kind of like, why do I deserve to have this life when me and Shiori made a mistake and she lost hers? Losing me, it's like I don't deserve it anyway. So he's not really thinking about other people. He's mainly thinking about himself and Shiori.
Koyomi apologizes to Kazune for having her involved, but Kazune has accepted to help him. Her excuse is that she just wants to see the time shift thing to see if it really works. But in reality, I think she just genuinely loves him so much that she will do it. She says, not to mention, to love someone so much drives you mad. I'm envious. But as a viewer, I think she's already mad herself. Koyomi visits Shiori at the intersection for the last time, and he apologizes that it has taken him 60 years to finally save her.
6 decades. She's been standing there looking at pigeons.
He bids her farewell and tells her that he will be taking her to a world where they both will never ever meet.
I mean, the thing is, he's old now, right? So if he dies, she's never gonna see him again ever again anyways. But I wonder if he dies, does she die too?
Shiori doesn't want to accept it, and neither does Koyomi, but it's what needs to be done for her to be free.
Please don't get hit by a car. Please. Dude, he better not get hit by a car. I will freaking riot.
He then decides to make a promise to meet again in exactly 1 month. When they go to the new world, they will be 7 years old again. They will live new lives without each other, but they will meet each other at this exact intersection, 66 years in the future. Same time, same place.
What if he forgets? What if he's like, oh, I don't remember.
And as Koyomi walks away and heads back to the lab, Shiori yells back at him. Her last words are, "Thank you. I'm grateful to have ever met you." And
Daisuke. I knew it.
now in the lab, Koyomi lays in the IP capsule.
My eyeballs are watery.
He tells Kazune about the promise, and she asks him if he has any last words.
Thank you, bestie. Friend zoned you for life, though.
He points out her ring and points out how beautiful the aquamarine is. She says it's a matching ring. Koyomi then thanks her for everything, and she closes the capsule door.
That's it? Bruh. Wait, why did she get that ring?
Kazune says goodbye to Koyomi and wishes he finds happiness and operates the capsule. Koyomi and Shiori's imaginary elements sink into the sea and into the new world.
Sayonara, Kiyomi. Sayonara, New York. Uh-oh, they're separating.
Then we cut to Koyomi number 2 as an old man. He wakes up and he's surprised that he's still alive and notices that he has a scheduled appointment at the intersection for 10 a.m. He doesn't remember making the reminder though.
Intersection. Don't tell me she dies again. He forgot.
Then his wife, Kazune, encourages him to go because he might remember the reason when he gets there. Koyomi number 2 reaches the intersection and we see a spirit of 14-year-old Shiori and 14-year-old Koyomi reuniting.
Don't tell me. This is what's happening. For 66 years, another 66 years. Does he remember? Wait, what?
Spirit Koyomi takes her hand and asks her to marry him, and they disappear.
Let's get married. I'm so confused.
And then we hear the voice of Koyomi number 2 asking a random woman for her name. And she says, "My name's not important. I'm nobody special."
I'm nobody special. Oh, this is what she says. I remember now. She said that she has a dream that a woman came to her, and it was her older self, right? Came to her and was like, oh, in the future, you guys will be together and he's not going to remember your name. They spoiled the ending for us. What was that ending? Okay, I'm glad that there's more to it because I'm like, confusion did.
The second movie continues right where we left off. Elder Koyomi number 2 waking up to an appointment notification on his phone to meet at the intersection. An appointment he does not remember making.
So this is how it ended. The last one ended.
His granddaughter says it must be an alternate version of himself who put the appointment into his watch. Koyomi mentions learning about parallel worlds is something they teach about in elementary school. So in this world, the knowledge about different universes is known by everyone.
So much has changed.
Koyomi's wife, Kazune, encourages him to go to the appointment because he might remember when he gets there.
Okay, if you watched this one first, that would mean it would be a bookend.
So Koyomi goes. He reaches the crosswalk and sees young Shiori in her spot.
She's there.
In this moment, it doesn't seem like he remembers anything about her, but he tells her that she shouldn't be standing there because it's dangerous. But she looks at him and says, "You came for me?" And then he takes a pause and replies, "Yeah, I'm here."
You made it. Is she old? She just stays young?
She reaches out her hand toward him. He smiles and holds her hand. But then she suddenly vanishes. He realizes she's gone, but he is left with a peaceful expression.
Wait, what? He doesn't see her anymore. I like how there's like all this technology now.
The crosswalk yells at him to get off, and he realizes he must have parallel shifted. But his watch says error.
Where am I? Who am I?
Then we cut to Koyomi explaining parallel worlds and how decisions create them. They actually explain parallel worlds and the whole phenomenon in this movie way better than they did in the first.
So this is all that his dad explained.
But I think it's basically due to the world being different, because in this world, their technology is way more advanced and they know way more about parallel worlds. In this movie, we follow Koyomi number 2's life.
Yeah, this is all stuff that we've seen already.
In this world, he chose to live with his mother. He has the argument with his grandfather over the BB gun.
This opening felt more like an opening than the last movie. Like, it felt more like the beginning of a story.
His grandfather dies. Koyomi number 2 switches places with original Koyomi, and he ends up in the capsule. He calls his mom to pick him up, and they go over to her place.
Visiting. I live here.
And his grandfather is still alive, but, is dead. Koyomi realizes he's in a different world. That night, he sleeps beside his grandpa.
Look at him with his ordinateur.
And they have a talk about Yuno's death, and that he can't come back.
But in his world, he never got to do that.
And that his grandpa still loves him no matter what. But he also goes into the significance of possibilities, how decisions aren't always made with clear thought. Sometimes they are made based off of emotion in that moment, and how they can lead to mistakes. But it's important to have empathy and to move forward.
Yeah, this part's very fleshed up.
Then Koyomi wakes up next to his mother back in his original world, where his grandfather has passed away.
I noticed he has brown eyes in this world.
And that was his first incident with parallel worlds.
Oh, so this is what like led him to want to do research on parallel worlds. I was wondering, I was like, oh, would he pursue the same career in this world? And he did, so I was like, oh.
His father is still a part of the Imaginary Elements company, and their research reached global attention so the whole world knows.
Oh, so this isn't the same. It's not Shiori's mom.
Koyomi basically lives a normal school life, but as a loner top student. When he reached high school, he promised himself he would make friends and decided to lay low on his smartness.
Yeah, this upbringing was very normal versus the other one. It was like very different.
Koyomi continues being a loner until one day Kazune confronts him by his first name.
Wait, apologize for what?
About something he did, but he doesn't remember.
Did she move too? Everyone's like, ooh, drama.
At the end of the day, Kazune says she needs to talk to Koyomi, and she takes him to a karaoke place.
Oh, karaoke again. Like before. In the last movie, it was like, why karaoke? And she was just like, it's just a good place to talk.
Kazune shows him her watch and explains that it's actually an IP device. It's a device that tells you what world you're in, and it is still in development.
Oh, her dad is a researcher in this world.
Kazune says she parallel shifted from 85 worlds away and that she didn't realize she shifted.
Yeah, the one in the other world. I don't know if she came from the same world though. Oh my god, her ears are red.
She shares that in her world, Koyomi is her boyfriend.
My boyfriend?
And that this Koyomi is completely different from the Koyomi from her world.
This is so awkward. He's like, what? Okay, so she's not from the same world. She's from a different world. This is so big brain for me.
Then Kazune decides to end the meeting and tells Koyomi to keep it a secret, and to leave as if nothing had happened. The next school day, Koyomi spends his time watching Kazune from a distance, to see if she's his world's Kazune or the Kazune from the other world.
So I guess he falls in love with her over time because he's like watching her so much.
One day, Koyomi approaches Kazune and says hi, but she gets startled, checks her watch, and bikes away. Koyomi then realizes that the Kazune he spoke to before must have shifted back to her real world, and he approached the Kazune of his world.
Oh. No, that's awkward.
Koyomi leaves a note in her locker to meet him at the karaoke place. She meets him there and her personality seems entirely opposite from the Kazune he met before.
She's really quiet.
But he asks her about the shift she went through, since she also shifted 85 worlds away. But the vibe gets really awkward and she ends up asking him about his experience with the Kazune he met.
Is she blind?
He talks about how that Kazune was in love with the Koyomi from her world.
Okay, maybe this would be more confusing to watch first, now that I think about it.
And then asks her if she would like to be friends with him.
Would you go out with me? Tomodachi? Tomodachi! Yay, yay.
Honestly, this moment, looking back at it, was really cute and sad because this man has no social skills. At least he's trying his best.
Maybe she's a loser in this world too. Wow! World 85 her really helped them get together. Damn.
Kazune then bursts out laughing and shows that she never parallel shifted in the first place.
She was faking it the whole time. There's no way, there's no way, there's no way.
This whole time she just made a fake sticker for her watch and made the whole story up.
There was no other world. It's just her. This is her plan all along to become friends.
She said she did it to get back at Koyomi. Since he wanted to make friends in high school, he chose to be low-key about his brain, so he declined to make the entrance ceremony speech. The speech was then handed off to Kazune, which she didn't feel like she deserved. But now, overall, she forgave Koyomi after pulling the prank on him.
She's gonna juke you again.
And then Koyomi asks her out.
This is moving fast. Oh.
But she says no, because she likes the other Koyomi more. Kazune leaves, telling him to act like they never spoke. But the next time they speak, Kazune was actually the one who talked to him first, and it was over a test he scored better in.
Oh. Rivals now. They were rivals in the other world too.
Soon they became healthy rivals. Healthy because they start pushing each other to work harder. They started studying after school together and unintentionally started a study club with lots of classmates.
Nerd plots.
Koyomi felt really happy.
In this world, he's so much more... I'll just say it, man. I want to be friends with you. I like you. In the other world, it was the other girl that confessed first.
Koyomi and Kazune both enroll into the same university to establish an imaginary science department. And then Kazune randomly asks Koyomi out.
Wow, finally. Say no, girl, boy.
And this man just like doesn't know how to react.
They're cute. They're like a power couple too. But the other one was like so wholesome too.
So they start dating and they get through school together. After graduating, they start working at the Imaginary Science Research Institute where Koyomi's dad works.
Are they gonna have dreams in this world about their other life?
Their job in the institute is to improve the IP watch because in that moment it's not reliable.
So the devices in this world are different than the other world.
Basically, the watch will notify the wearer that they parallel shifted and it will show you to which world they moved to.
Don't die. This is the intersection with the ghost girl.
They worked really hard and they managed to find a solution to making the watch work.
It's gonna walk in and they're like naked.
Koyomi then asks Kazune to marry him and she accepts.
Oh, it's the ring. Oh, it's the ring that she was wearing in the other world. She was wearing on her pinky. I'm happy for his like this world version of him. So when does the shit hit the fan? I still like the first couple, but like this version, they're cute.
As they're chatting, Kazune notices that she remembers putting her bag on her right side and not on her left. Koyomi notices her watch says she shifted 2 worlds away for a bit. So it makes him wonder if it was Kazune of his world that accepted the ring, or if he even was in his current world at the moment he was asking.
I just find it interesting because it's like they have like this huge industry for different dimensions, but it's like, is it really a big problem for a lot of people? Like, yeah, like it's inconvenient that you would misplace something and it could be someone from another dimension intertwining. What's like, it's never really a big deal. I think it's interesting that there's like so much funding in like the story, but then again, it's also like research about like the ocean or like space. Like I guess like further galaxies doesn't really impact us anyways either, but I guess maybe it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, it would be good to know. I solved my own issue.
They decided to not wear the IP device during the ceremony, but it leads Koyomi to wonder if in that moment, is he even marrying the Kazune of his world? A few years pass and parallel worlds are able to communicate with each other, and technology overall advanced. Kazune and Koyomi have a little boy. Their son draws a picture of a location that he claims Koyomi took him to one time.
It's a place you like. He's not gonna recognize it.
But Koyomi doesn't remember it at all.
He went with his with like another dimension dad, for sure. I have no idea what that is. What is that? Bro, work on your art. No, I'm joking.
The family goes on an outing to a carnival, and there suddenly was an incident with a deranged man with a knife.
Ew. Man with knife. Oh shit, is he gonna lose his kid? Nah.
Koyomi runs to stop the man, but the man stabs Koyomi's son.
Oh shit. Not the kid. So is he gonna be like freaking Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse where he's like, I'm going to find my kid in another universe and I'm gonna bring him here. Oh no, he lived. No, he didn't. Oh, he's fine.
But his son is safe and sound. Turns out Koyomi just had a nightmare.
That happened in another universe. Bro, this is a ghost kid now.
Koyomi tries to get things back to normal, but Kazune starts to act differently. She's usually really calm and cool, but she's become very overprotective. Koyomi's dad tells him that Kazune is targeted by an unauthorized optional shift, meaning another Kazune from another universe is targeting Kazune to switch. Koyomi goes home and Kazune and their kid are not there.
She gone.
He figures out where they are based off of the kid's drawing and heads there.
Yo, she ran away with the child.
He finds them and he hands Kazune the watch.
At this point, they're kind of like just skeptical of each other.
She says that she took it off because it won't show 0, basically admitting she's not from that world. Koyomi tells her that it's dangerous for her to stay there because she can cause an identity diffusion.
Oh, so she's like shifting a lot. What? If a split occurs while you're shifting to a far-off world, you get even farther from your original world. Oh, okay.
Because this Kazune will start making decisions which will make complicated splits or complicated parallel worlds. Koyomi tells Kazune they will go to the institute to have her return to her world, but she refuses because she doesn't want to leave her son.
Oh, okay. So she's okay, so my theory was right.
Koyomi tells her that that is not her son. Her son is gone. The kid asks Kazune where his mother is, and she realizes that this won't work because he isn't really her son. She breaks down and says that she killed her son because she couldn't save him during the incident.
The kid's like, who's this woman? Why is she crying?
She also thinks that her Koyomi believes the same. But Koyomi comforts her, telling her that it's not her fault and that Koyomi of her world doesn't believe that because no matter what world he is in, he is still himself. He says that right now he's still waiting for his Kazune to return, and the Koyomi of her world is doing the same, waiting for his Kazune to return.
This looks so much nicer than the other world.
They go back to the institute to send Kazune back to her real world. As she lays in the capsule, she whispers to herself, "It's not fair. Why not us too?" And she's sent back and the original Kazune returns.
Bro, in the first movie, these kids just be like, beep, 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 beep. I wish.
On the drive back home, Koyomi talks about how fascinated he is by possibilities.
Bruh, there's a Tesla? Self-driving?
How there could be happy outcomes and sad outcomes.
Imagine this is the car that hit her in the first movie. Imagine. Because this man's not looking at the road.
But he believes that in every world that himself and Kazune exist in, it's a world that he loves Kazune.
Let me just tell you right now, it's not true. But I think in the first movie, he did like care for her, but like was not in love.
So even if the outcome turns out sad, he is still happy because it's a world where he loves her.
Bruh, eyes on the road.
And then time passes, their son gets married.
Is this a different... Oh wait, no. This is her kid.
And Kazune and Koyomi grow old together peacefully. But in old age, Koyomi doesn't have much time left to live and decided to live the rest of his days at home.
He's gonna die.
After Kazune puts Koyomi to sleep, she wakes up to a letter addressed to herself on the table. And it is a letter from the Kazune from another world, the Kazune from the first movie. She optional shifted into Kazune's body to write the letter, and she tells her story of her world. It's basically the first movie from her perspective. She and Koyomi of that world are not married, but spent years together as research partners in the Imaginary Institute. She knew Koyomi from high school. He was a top student even though he was absent a lot, and she saw him as her rival, but looking back, it might have been more than just rivalry. She joined the institute to see him again, and she became his assistant, and he asked her to help him with his secret project to time travel. Because time travel was the only way to save Koyomi's love of that world, the ghost at the intersection.
Yeah, this is all the first movie, like the plot.
He believed the accident was his fault, and he dedicated his whole life to saving her from the intersection. And after decades of research, she and Koyomi found a way to save her from the intersection using time travel. But it would leave Koyomi's body brain dead.
I think they're my favorite couple. I like them too a lot more than this movie's couple. But this movie's couple, you know, they're a power couple. But these two, they got together so well.
She admits that she felt heartbroken and that she would be left behind, but she can't and won't do anything to stop his determination. She explains that in this world, the accident won't occur again because he and his love never met. She explains that he had executed the time shift already, and his imaginary elements time traveled to Kazune's world in the past and infused with Koyomi of that world starting at age 7. His love also infused with the version of herself at age 7, but they both lived their normal lives and never met, which saved his love's life.
So how's it gonna end? I still don't know.
But before the time shift, they both made a promise to meet again at the intersection at the very end of their happy lives of this world. They made the promise even though there will be no memories carried on from the original world onto that one.
Will he remember though? He won't.
So it would take a miracle to happen. But Kazune of the other world still wishes for that to come true somehow.
Okay, they're gonna reunite, but are they going to? Are they?
So she input a notification entry into Koyomi's watch to meet at the intersection at the day and time they promised to meet.
Part of me didn't want the two of them to meet. Freaking best girl, what the heck?
She asked Kazune to send him off to the intersection when the day comes, and ends her letter off with, "As another me, you probably already know that I love Koyomi of my world."
She did. I knew it too, but like...
It wasn't a love that ended in marriage, but I can feel that I spent my life loving Koyomi.
Spend my life loving. Aww.
She asks if she would do the task even though it's a selfish wish.
This would mean sending the person you love to someone else's side. Oh, she's so nice for doing that. Okay, I do think this is the best way to watch it actually.
As we saw 2 times before, Kazune encourages Koyomi to head to the intersection, even if there is a tiny chance for his love from the other world to meet him there too. He's at the crosswalk and his watch reads error. He doesn't know what world he's in, but he believes he's not in the same world as the girl in the crosswalk. Koyomi is confused with what just happened, and he suddenly has stomach pain. He reaches for his medicine, but he drops it.
I'm confused. What is happening? I'm dumb. Uh-oh, his meds, bro. She's gonna pick it up. She's gonna pick it up. She's gonna come pick it up.
He has a hard time reaching it on the floor, but an elderly woman picks it up and helps him.
It's her. It's her. Bro, give him his pills. He's dying. He's dying. She did live. Okay. Show me more. Don't cut it.
He asks her for her name, and she says, "My name's not important. I'm nobody special."
Name's not important. I'm nobody special. It is her.
And she explains that saying that to someone was on her bucket list. Koyomi asks her if they met before. She doesn't recognize him or his name.
I don't recognize your name. You or your name?
And Koyomi says that they probably met in a parallel world somewhere. He asks her if her life is happy, and she says yes, it is very happy. He replies that he's glad and to take care, and then they part ways.
Goodbye. So he did save her in the end. It was all worth it.
Koyomi meets Kazune on his way back to their house as she's waiting for him. He asks her about his appointment, and he says that no one showed up, but says that he had a lovely interaction with a stranger. He said that she said her life was happy, and it made him feel happy hearing that.
It's okay, because they're both happy in the end, right?
He realizes that the reason why he can feel happy about a stranger's happiness is because he's known happiness himself, with Kazune by his side. And he says that he wants to tell every Kazune in every world that he's happy with her by his side.
But I want to tell every you. This is the best way to watch it, I think.
He also wants to thank every version of himself that loved someone that wasn't Kazune. Because he loved someone other than her, he got to love Kazune. And to the someone that wasn't Kazune that loved a different him, he prays that the person they love finds happiness somewhere out in the world.
To every you have loved before. That was good. In the first movie, you kind of like get to know this girl, you really like her, and obviously you're gonna like root for this girl first, right? And then we go to the second one, and it's like this other universe where he falls in love with someone else, and you're kind of like, well, I still like the other girl, right? But at the end of the day, everything that he did, all his effort in the first movie was worth it in the second one, because she did get to live her life because they didn't meet in that life. He was happy too. So even though in the first movie, like, all they wanted to do was be together, like, no matter what, it just wasn't fate. And then in the other universe, it was like, even though they weren't together, they did find love and happiness with other people. At the end of the day, they're like happy for each other for like going through that. So I think it was really good. And it's like one of those things where it's like, I saw on Twitter like a long time ago where it was like Everything Everywhere All at Once is like another movie with like different dimensions and stuff. I really like that concept that there's like different dimensions, because it's like if maybe someone in the world, like in a different dimension, like someone that I lost, like a loved one I lost, is like still living on and is happy, or like because certain things in life happen, you know, it impacts like other things in life. Why am I crying? This wasn't even sad. It was like bittersweet, but like I think like it was like a really happy ending, and it's making me like cry so freaking much. I just think it was definitely the best way to watch it, because like I feel like if you watch this one and then the other one, like the first movie like really set up like the whole story, and then we really got to see the end in this one, versus watching the second one first. I feel like you're kind of like watching this guy's life and then this whole like lore and stuff like that, and you're just like, what? Obviously it's like preference, but like I do think this was the best way to watch it, and I'm glad that I did watch it in this order, especially because we did get to see the conclusion of the first like issue in this one versus like seeing the conclusion of but then again, because the whole time I was like thinking, I was like, it wouldn't have ended. So I guess like if you did watch the second movie first, I wonder what it would be like to not know the information of the second movie and then watching the first one. I need to erase my memory and like rewatch it again so I can see what it's like. Anyways, I think that's all for today. Thank you guys for watching my reaction to this. I had a great time. Check out my other reaction videos down below or linked somewhere. And I cry a lot in my videos if you don't know that, but yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.